chapter of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and we had a meeting where there were ICE representatives, and one attorney said, you know, that his past, he's an immigration attorney but with a specialty in criminal law, and he said, well, you know, this sounds like consenting to a search. Like, why would we put this stuff into the system so that you could see the system? So that is the concern. Like, what, you know, you're opening yourself up to, and that's why employers don't want to do it, or a lot of employers. You know.
It's just the.
And then there are huge fines. That's the other thing, which I didn't bring the fines here because you guys are not employers, so you don't have to worry about what they are, but they're quite large.
So let's say this thing actually did go full scale and it was mandatory across the entire country. You think it would even be able to stand on its own feet? You have, how would you police? How would they police it nationwide? And then beyond that, like you said before, the workforce. We don't have enough Americans to do jobs, so I mean, it's kind of unrealistic. Maybe.
It's even unrealistic at a more basic level than that, and that's that the system is not really good enough to handle huge amounts of queries yet, and they know it. Like, people in the E-Verify unit will tell you, like when Arizona went mandatory, they said, thank God there's not more, because we can't handle it. Like, they can't get out there, they can't teach employers fast enough how to use it, they can't handle the glitches in the system. So
to update all the new people coming through the system all the time. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think eventually they'll get up to it, but they're not at it now. You know? Yeah.
I'm an international student, so I just want to have two quick questions. Now, firstly, you were saying you have the 1 year additional OPT.
Right.
Let's say my visa expires in November. I graduate in June because it got delayed.
Okay.
So how do I go about that?
You mean what expires? No OPT?
My visa.
What kind of visa?
My student visa. So is it the F1? So
Yeah.
Is it possible to extend that to? Do we still get that additional 1 year OPT?
Yeah. Everybody who graduates can get, in the United States, from student status, can get the 1 year of OPT. But for these science, technology, engineering, and math students, they added 17 months onto that. So it's a total of 19 months, which was great, because especially with the cap on the H-1B, it's, you know, it's hard for people to be able to stay here. But that's where we really need people the most desperately, so that's why they extended it, but they didn't extend it for everybody.
And then what is the procedure regarding I heard they changed the rules regarding getting the H1, or is it? Is it like a ballot system now?
No, it is in a sense a lottery system. There's 65,000 spots, unless you work in academia. If you work in academic institutions or in research, you're cap exempt. But for the whole rest of the world, there's 65,000 of them. That's how many visas are out there, which is nowhere near what's needed. And so, like last year, 183 applications came in for those. 183,000 came in for those 65,000 spots. So they took them all and they did a lottery. I don't know. I don't work there, so God knows how they did this lottery. But they picked out, I don't know, 65 or 70,000 of them and just sent the rest back. So it's a lottery in that sense. But and they have 20,000 set aside for people who have U.S. master's degrees. So, but it's nowhere. None of this is anywhere near the demand. Yeah.
And I guess sometimes it blows my mind a little bit that for example, when we were trying to bring my brother-in-law over so that he could work legally, my dad has a orthodontic office, and we had a Christmas tree farm.
Right.
So in speaking with the lawyer, it was becoming more complicated to bring him over on an H-2A agricultural visa than it was if he were to go to school, finish his degree, and then...
Oh, absolutely.
And that makes no sense, because if we're saying that we want to not take jobs away from Americans, then why are they making it easier to give away a higher paying educated job than an agricultural job?
But I don't think it's easier. That's the thing. Yeah. You know, I don't really think it's so much easier because of this cap on the H-1Bs. And it's now, what's started to happen is that, I mean, this is, to me, bad for the economy and because academic institutions usually charge higher tuition to people who are foreign, to foreign nationals, significantly higher. So it's in their best interest to bring people in student status, but people are not coming in student status in the same numbers because there's nothing for them when they get out. Right. If they can't get an H-1B visa, that means they have to go home, so why bother? So it starts way back, you know. Yeah. So I don't know that I actually think the other realm, the other end of the employment spectrum, you know, the more manual work has even a harder time. Yeah. You know, so, but it's not easy for anybody. I'm hoping that the new administration kind of hopefully, you know, has a little more sense about these things. You know.
Can you fast forward about 3 to 5 years and give us your best vision? Where do you think this will be?
Yeah, 3 to 5 years. That's not a long period of time in immigration terms. You know, I think a few other states will have it mandatory. I have a map which I didn't bring with me. Some states have made it mandatory for state and local government employees. You know, I think they'll have made more incursions. I don't think it'll be like universal yet, but I think at some point, like say 10 years down the road, it's going to be universal. Unless maybe some president comes into office that doesn't want it, but it's not quite the kind of thing that a president would want to backtrack on either. You know what I mean? Like if it works, it has its advantages. So I don't know, but I definitely think it's moving in that direction. Because every
see it in the New Jersey, New York, this area first, last.
Yeah, well, yeah, New Jersey has legislation just like the Arizona legislation right now pending, so it could become mandatory in New Jersey. Now New York doesn't have anything like that. So you know, just have to wait and see what happens. So is that it? Okay.
Any other questions? This is the opportunity. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yes.